Look, just give it to the fire department. You are fire department. Well, I ain't good. I'm on retired quit. I hate to bring this up, but my other person, Tom, Lacey, or Christina, Candy, and the candy jar. We'll have to do something. I know. I will. No, just anytime, Dennis, you want to make something to the fire department.
What was that name?
Yeah.
Danny.
That way.
Got here. Danny. Yes.
Yeah. And maybe even you can cover it.
It was on here though.
Yeah, it was on the back.
Oh, yeah. Here comes school teacher. How's our children today?
Learning what? Yeah, learning something good at what?
I just want the family.
Is it recording?
You don't mind on
Press it one more time.
Hot pickle?
Yeah, red record.
Look, we've been making it, you wouldn't believe what you do to make those with. I mean, it's an art. You have to get them started way before we get the mold going.
I don't know why anybody passed. Maybe they were good store work, except for Derek.
Look, Frog's been just making them things ever and ever. He just losing. It was Darwin and the fire department, well, somebody, we had the fire department. I sell that. I got like the guy with the fire department.
Lacey's in China. She's got a day in tomorrow in, Tipton.
Yeah.
I'm talking Jackson.
Yeah, oh, sound like that.
She was in
That's a better
classes.
place to go.
She had a report yesterday at 5, and had a report this morning at 7 for a pre-conference. She's getting her, what her students got.
All right, that'd be good. We need that. Suppose she sent out training about the, well, that, but also about us doing the training for the zoning.
Oh, yeah. That's finally scheduled, but.
Yeah, it's 2 days. I got them on my calendar.
Yes, ma'am.
We already did one time about 12 years ago. No, go ahead. That's it. The book, the grading was really hard. The grading system is all in here. Western side. That's 2 hours. As long as the work should be done, we got that part. We anticipate student livestock housing will be completed. And then we'll start with
Really big.
education.
Just the thing says it's got, yeah. One be.
All of
I
it.
There is a pipe.
That's like that guy.
What?
Ball days, you know, that y'all did $1 million on TCU.
Try to just use it, break outside the door.
Maybe it was.
Well, 2 million.
Doing.
They videoed, make a $2 million bet on.
Now you got one on, I think you got one on the Super Bowl, but I don't know who's out it.
Two of them kind of do.
Got all of this.
Only problem with me is remembering the charge. I thought the same, and I wrote
You did that. I don't think about it like that. I was gone. I had
Already found it.
What am I gonna do with it?
I don't mind. No, I really don't mind. Mistake. Yeah, I did.
Going down the creek, man. Get it on over into the system, going down the line. That'll be on our time. Counselor.
Good. Thank you, sir.
She was saying the library's here, but she goes and she's pretty short. Part of benefit that day too. That's a pretty short fair. Really good. Fit in really well. Just say all. You ready? You got anything?
No, I don't think so. No one's in the, she's in the water. Yeah.
I'd like to welcome everybody to the Madison County Board of Commissioners agenda setting work session February 6 p.m. We'll start off quickly with the chairman's report, reminding you that this is just a work session tonight, along with zoning matters. One of our recent employees that retired from Madison County EMS. I think Shane had 27 years or something to that effect. Came back to work with us part-time. He's a paramedic. Maybe you may or may not know Shane LaFlamme, but his wife just recently graduated PA school to become a doctor, and then about a month and a half after that, she was diagnosed leukemia. Is that right?
Yes.
And it's a critical state of leukemia. So you'll see things on our website. I think maybe on the website. Anyway, there's several benefits and fundraisers to help out this family. You know, Shane, and there's no telling how many lives Shane's saved in the past 27 years, but we're going to do something for them to try to help that family out. Remember that the Recreation Department is having a red carpet VIP Daddy Daughter Dance February 10th, 6 p.m. until 8:30 p.m. at the old gymnasium out back. Tickets are $25 in advance, $30 at the door. Last year, there was several hundred kids at this event. This was a very well-placed event for Daddy Daughters. Reminder that the Senior Center is hosting the second annual Murder Mystery Dinner fundraiser. This year, same as 50 Sock Hop. This event will take place February 16th at Grant Hill Farms. Doors open at 6:15. Dinner and show starts at 7. Please contact the Senior Center for more information. Board of Commissioners office still has several job openings. In case anybody's looking, we are still hiring. Go online. You will see the list of openings presented. I don't think there's a starting pay on because different qualifications. I'd do best to make an inquest into that position that you may feel like be right for. A couple things that I penciled in here after the fact because we don't have road updates normally in the work session, but I need people to be aware. Shoal Creek Road over in Colbert off of Hardeman Marsh Road, we're having to replace 2 pipes over there. That road is closed simultaneously on one end and or then the other once we get the other one opened up. One went in today, one will be going in Wednesday in between rain showers. We're trying to take advantage of these 3 nice days that we've got before the rain gets back in here on Thursday. Today also, the handicap access ramp for the Board of Elections office, concrete was poured today. It's drying as we speak. This makes it easier for, if you're wheelchair bound, to be able to load and unload. This is an unload and load area designed at the front door for people to pull up to so they don't have to try to get up and down that ramp. Wednesday of last week, I spent most of the day at the Capitol with Rob Leverett. He is concluding the rules for the soil amendments. As we all know, if anybody has ever been around this stuff, what kind of potential smell that you're going to be approaching, or it's going to approach you whether you want it to or not. But anyway, we've got a good set of rules. We hope this gets passed through the House and on to the Senate in this session. I got to congratulate Rob Leverett on all his efforts that he's put in to making this work. There was 24 people in attendance, everybody from the poultry industry, from Denali, 6 or 8 senators, and then chairman from Wilkes County, Elbert County, Oglethorpe County, Madison County, along with ACCG. So it was a very well productive process for writing those new rules. All right. That end of the month report for planning and zoning is just for y'all to see, just showing how many we've had this month. I did want to see if we had a total for the end of 2023 and 2022. So in 2022, stops by the building inspection office means places they stopped at 2,106. They done 5,187 inspections and 222 COs of occupancy, certificate of occupancy. Those numbers are slightly down from 21, and a lot of it is contributed to the moratorium. Now, moving on. Public hearing on zoning matters, Mr. Canola Scott. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Turner. Lamar don't. So Lamar, you want to go first, sir?
Yeah.
I scratched out Michael Moore and scratched over it all.
Evening, y'all. Back last year, May, we met with a company called GTAC. about new software and accounting stuff for our property side. We've used TBS Harris for, I would say, somewhere around 35, 40 years here in the county. And had some issues with them over the last few years, and just got to looking and come across GTAX. These are people who all are either retired Department of Revenue or left Department of Revenue to come to work here. They designed the wind gap system that just about every single appraisal office in the county uses. And they came and give us a presentation here, pretty impressed with them, started working on it. Then it come time to get the digest, and just sort of let it fall to the wayside. But we're coming up on our dead time of the year between the mobile home due date and getting the digest out. So Todd wants to get up a presentation, and that's what I'm here for tonight. We paid Harris $34,000 last year for the monthly maintenance, the print and mailing. That's the whole package right there. And one of the pluses to Harris is you have a known quantity right there. We've been using them for years, but it's an antiquated system. They still on MS-DOS. They're not Windows-based. When you have a problem, it takes them a little while to work on stuff. Give an example. Robin sends them his information from his office, and they get it, and then time it gets to me, it never matches. And every year you got 2 or 3 weeks where you're trying to figure out where these exemptions went, you know, especially doing city collections. It throws a wrench in their basic plan, I guess you'd say. So once we talked to Greg Reese and them, and all of these guys were the instructors that I trained under working as an appraiser, and Robin Baker too. I mean, we got a history with these people to go back just years. And they decided to come over to the tax commissioner side. We got them to give us a proposal, and they came in a good bit cheaper. It was a $15,000 startup, where Manatron and Harris now started at about $35,000. Maintenance fee was $15,000. So we were looking at about $11,000 a year savings on the second year. But they don't do mailing, so we had to go out and cast around and look at that. And got a proposal right here I'll submit, and let you, Todd's already looked over it, Christine and some of the accounting people. I don't know if you got a copy of it, but there's, from a streamline standpoint, it's attractive because these are the people that designed the system that Robin already uses. So we just take the information, everything's streamlined there. They pick up. In 2 weeks' time, they got the system loaded. It's a lot more user-friendly because it'll be Windows-based. The reporting process is a lot quicker because everything will be quicker doing email, Windows-based and all like that. If there's an issue, we get with them, we get somebody right there. It's a weekend, whatever, you know, somebody gonna point and click and work with us. You get a more complete record of the individual parcels. In other words, when somebody comes in my office, instead of me having to send them down to Robbins to find out certain information, a lot of it will be able to pull off of the same programs now. We would think, they're thinking they can set us up a dedicated line where we pull current information off of the property appraisal office. As far as whatever's on the property record card, we can pull it in the office there when they come in. For the last 3 years, and we had a little bit of a different situation this year because we were having to work with new accounting people trying to help people get the digest, get everything squared away, and the consolidation sheets would never square up, so it sort of exaggerated the situation. But the first year savings was around 18, almost 20%. But then the more we looked into the system and everything, we found out that we would have to have a dedicated server for this program, which we don't have. Rob and Baker and them have one, but we don't in our office. So there's an additional, per Thomas's quote, somewhere around $18,000, $19,000 for the server, which sort of negates the savings, no matter the convenience or whatever. and spoke to Todd about it. He said to present it, and there's some cons to leaving TBS. We have a good working relationship with them. We do. We pay them probably a little bit more money than we should for what we get, but they do the mailing and everything. We'll have to go, the lowest quote was div code, excuse me, which is Jackson County, Clark County, a lot of your major accounts as part of where you div code, and they love them to death. And they were probably $6,000-7,000 cheaper than the closest quote. They almost $10,000 cheaper than what TBS is paying us for mailing now. So there's still savings. It's just not the 20% we thought we would recognize for the second year stuff after we got this started. And like I said, I got a proposal right here. And I would assume once everybody looks at it and decides, I guess take a vote at the regular business meeting, you know. But it's, these guys right here, it would be hard to, they were the brain trust of the Department of Revenue and went out on their own. They do personal property accounts for Gwinnett County, Fulton County, stuff like that. They sharp, and they just wanted to diversify and come over to our side and do more. And if it hadn't been for it being them, I probably wouldn't even consider it. But these are some sharp individuals, and they have a heck of a presentation. And even somebody is in there with computers and I can figure out how to use their system. So that's a big plus too.
Lamar, one of the things that me and you had talked about was currently his office cannot talk to Robin's office. Not through, it's a three-step process to get anything done. This is a one-step process. It eliminates the other.
Well, I'll give you an example. When I started doing city collections, and I'm proud to do them because it saves the city money, it's really not that much more work for us, but Comer has a city exemption. And it took TBS 6 weeks to figure out how to tag that exemption. It had been there for a while. And TBS is an old company, and it's like Manatron. Manatron was the next big thing, but every time they sell out to somebody, quality changes just a little bit. And to my way of thinking, especially the last 3 years, we try to get the tax bills out a minimum of 30 days early. We have run close to 40, and it's real hard to do when you have to go back and do their job for them on errors and exemptions and stuff like that, instead of just being able to take it like this year with new people up front. We were trying to work with that and help out as best we could too, and then had that going right there. I think it was probably the second week before we got a good consolidation sheet. And we still got the bills out early, but it's just, that's a pressure time of the year for about 4 offices. And it would be nice, I think, to streamline that. Now, there's still a savings there. It's not anywhere close to 20% once you look at supplying the server, but the server will have applications that will last from now on. I was worried about the firewall stuff and security and all like that, and y'all can talk to Thomas, he can explain that more than I ever could, but he doesn't have a big problem with that end of it. And he gives some good quotes he could give on it. And it was almost 19,000, 18,500, something like that. So, yeah.
I guess what little I know about computers, but MS-DOS, I grinned when you said that because basically it's going to be non-existent. It will be in the very near future because I know there were some antiquated systems at Caterpillar. They got rid of them because it's not supported.
TBS is offering a revamp that would cost us a one-time $17,000, $18,000 and then another $6,000 a year, which would put us right at $40,000 a year. And this, like I said, with the savings on just the maintenance and streamlining that part of the operation, we still gonna probably save about $5,000 a year.
And I guess that including the server, that would, I mean, that's something that is gonna be ongoing and used. And if it's Windows based, it's upgraded.
Yeah, and I would think, if I didn't know these people personally, like I said, I would just pay whatever TBS asks. That's what I've done the whole time I've been tax commissioner. When they up the prices or whatever, I just submit the bill keep on going. But this was a viable option right here, and once you meet these guys, once you talk to them, this will be like a 2-week setup, and then it's over with, you know, it's good. They some of the sharpest cats in Department of Revenue ever threw out there. They are good.
The reason I asked for more to come and give this presentation was not necessarily about the savings as much as it was about the streamlining the process for communication more than anything. If you're ever in a building and you go down there and you ask Melanie, what's wrong today? And you get the reply, Harris.
Yeah,
I mean, everybody's just over fussing and fighting about it. So I appreciate their savings in it, but the streamlined process for them to be able to do their job easier, more effectively, matters more than the money.
Well, if we're gonna have to eventually modernize, why not go a different route? I can't think, there's 3 counties using them right now. And I think the closest one to us is probably Wilkes, and they love them to death, you know. But I can give you probably 10, 15 counties that's been using them on the property appraisal side for years, from to do all the grunt work and revals and stuff like that. They've had 2 employee stations in Gwinnett County probably for the last 15, 16 years. You know, that's G-math on that. They make pretty sharp operators.
We're not under a time frame, correct?
Well, no, because the mobile home bills won't be due to May. And I would like to have something in the works then to where I can just shut it off for TBS. Won't be any appeals. My 2 tax sales, the information will transfer straight across to the new system if y'all decide that we can go that route. So it's really, this is the time of year where I spend most of my time riding, knocking on doors and collecting. So.
Was this a budgeted item?
It's not. That's why I'm coming here before tonight. It is not a budgeted item.
The savings you anticipate include the extra you're gonna have to spend on maintenance?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Because it's actually cheaper to use Dilco, and they are real good. Like I say, they do Jackson County, Clark County, I think they do Gwinnett County. There were 6 major counties that they did the billing for. On a lot of other stuff like light bills, power bills, you know, stuff like that too. And everybody we talked to recommended, and they ended up, let's see, they were 10 to 12,000 for our volume of bills, okay? And we paid, Pitney Bowes was the next closest, they were at 15,000. Harris charges us 17,000, and that is a budgeted item. This budgeted, my mailing and printing and binding budget is separate in our office budget.
So you would anticipate the mailing note should be?
Mailing be the same. There's a line item in there in it for tax collection, and I keep it in there. I think when I took office, there was $30,000 in there. I've got it trimmed down about 6 or 7 now, because I use it just to fill in the gaps on printing and binding, mailing, filing fees. If I need money, I can drop it down 1 or 2. But there are 3 line items involved in this right here.
Now, to help answer your question, we did budget for Harris for this coming year.
Oh yeah, that's always, but Harris is always.
So the money it's not going to be $30,000 on top of what Harris.
No,
we won't be paying Harris
instead of.
Instead of.
But you are right, and I apologize for that. We have always paid subscription fees to Harris. It's not going to show up in my budget, but it'll show up in y'all's.
If we could, when we get to the point where we'll have a final discussion for that, can you give us just what turnkey numbers are?
Yes, sir.
We're taking this away, we're adding this to it.
Yes, sir.
This is what's left over.
Yes,
This is what, because
I will.
I just have a better understanding.
That's right. That's fine. That's understandable. I just wanted to make you aware. And do I need to?
Mark, what, has Thomas shared anything on the life expectancy of the existing server?
He did not, but now Thomas gave a quote week before last, and I was tied up with Mama deal, and all, then I had COVID last week, so I have not talked to Thomas since he submitted this right here. I brought it because it is more than I had first approached Todd with, and just wanted y'all to see it, so you know what was there.
Can you share, I just noticed the date on it was last July. Are these current, and
Yes, sir.
any thoughts on why you maybe didn't ask to go this route during budget?
Well, I wasn't sure. We've had trouble. Christina was wanting us to get quotes on the mailing and stuff like that, and we had trouble doing that. And then when you roll into August, it's all digest. Just trying to get the digest to go, and it did get put on the back burner for the digest. Now, we were planning on trying to have it submitted before January 1st. That's where we were planning to, and it just didn't work out.
So I guess for the next meeting though, you can update.
Before the next meeting,
Yeah.
before the next meeting, I give you a split between where Harris and TBS now, is what this will pick up on right here. Make sure there are no additional costs over the quote, and just get with Thomas.
Yeah.
And that's why.
Yeah, with Thomas, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Do that.
Thank you, Lamar.
No, that's no problem.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it. I'm gonna leave this with Tracy, all right?
I thought, for some reason, I was thinking there was a cloud-based server in somewhere.
No, it was wind gaps, excuse me, it was Windows based is what we were talking. Now, I can, again, just think about whatever, you know.
You might want to check with Thomas and ask him, is Robin's server in the tax assessor's office big enough to carry both, or is he saying it is going to have to take a
No,
server?
the reason this quote came about is because Robbins can't handle it.
Gotcha.
So that's where that came from.
Well, maybe this will be big enough to carry
I
his.
was gonna say, would it be prudent if we're looking at that, then in essence, we would mesh the functions between, that we wouldn't look at upgrading the hardware side of it while we're doing it, so that we don't find ourselves in the same boat in one or the other department.
That's right, don't want to overlap. Well, that's, like I say, that'd be a question for Thomas, and I'll get with him tomorrow and get started on that.
Thank you, buddy.
Appreciate it, y'all have a good evening.
I ain't no fellas taking that from gold in my cat. This is a work session, we gonna have. Alita Turner, library freshman. By the way, Katie Morris texted me, said she was not gonna be able to make it. She said, but thank you for everything you're gonna fix to do.
All right. Well, thank you. I won't take up a lot of y'all's time tonight. You got the report last quarter last year. All of our numbers are up from the same, as compared to the same quarter the previous year, so very proud of that. Just a few highlights. Our inclusive book club, for that we had a therapy dog come visit, and all the book club members had a great time visiting with the dog. We hope to repeat that. We had a very well-attended author talk with Ms. Hattie Whitehead, who's the author of Lenintown Dunbar. The holiday hoopla was a lot of fun. We had good turnout for that, and the crafts that people got to do there that were well enjoyed. And before I end on the one unfortunate note, coming up later this month on February 18, we're going to have another author talk. Tim and Joanna Smolko are a couple of local authors who've written a book called Atomic Tunes about popular music during the Cold War. So we're going to do some talking about that. I think it'll be very interesting, and I invite all of you to come be there and enjoy it. That will be happening in a smaller room than it normally would, because the one very unfortunate event was the pipe burst when we had the cold snap in our Jerry room, and so that is, of course, still ongoing, and I'm not sure where we are.
What is the date that you're coming for that event?
The February 18th is the date for the author talk. Yes, sir. At 3 p.m.
I'll see if I can get that room finished before then.
That would be fantastic. Thank you so much. And unless you have any questions for me, that's all I have. Lydia has something very quick.
Hi, I'm Lydia Ross. I'm the board chairman right now. But we just have a thank you note from the staff and the trustees for your prompt reaction to our leak and getting everything shored up and taking care of the building and our staff. So thank you very much.
Thank you, lady. I know the carpet has arrived.
Oh, excellent.
scheduling to be put down now. I think I might be
Okay.
able to expedite this. Amanda had to do it over a weekend, but we'll figure it out.
Okay, thank you so much. Good to know.
Mr. Chairman,
All right.
Mr. Chairman, can I just make a comment?
Yes, ma'am.
Alita is wonderful, creative, just so librarian. I can't say enough about her. She just brings joy to our library. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's the first time I've ever heard that. You're just so librarian. I've been called a lot of things, but I've never been called just a librarian.
I don't know about that.
I don't think you'll be very good.
I would not be a very good. I have a hard enough time just reading through this. Public hearing and actions on zoning matters. Mr. Canola Scott.
Good afternoon.
Definitely, sir.
We have quite a few tonight, but most of them are very simple, and we'll try to get through them as quickly as possible. The first one on the agenda is Tracy Galloway is requesting to rezone a 2-acre portion of her 19.14 acre from A2 property to AR to allow 2-acre splits for an existing home. This is in District 5. There was no public comments for or against. So the planning and zoning board is 6-0 to approve.
Thank you, sir. Tracy Galloway in attendance? All right. Anyone here to speak in favor of this rezone? Anyone here to speak in opposition to this rezone? Hearing none, we'll close the floor, bring it back before the board, and I'd entertain a motion, gentlemen.
Make a motion to approve as presented.
Second motion. Motion by Commissioner Doster, second by Commissioner Chandler. Any discussion, gentlemen? Hearing none? Dennis?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
All right, number 2, also District 5, Doug Sturchell is requesting to rezone a 2-acre portion of his 16.38 acre property from A2 to AR to gift to his son for a home site. Property is located at 1144 Shoal Creek Road in Carver on map 59. No public comments for or against. The planning and zoning vote 6-0 to approve.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Fucci?
Yes.
You like the way you presented, or do you want to add anything else, sir?
No, I'm perfectly fine with the way it went through with them, so.
All right, thank you, sir. Anyone here to speak in favor of? Anyone here to speak in opposition of this rezone request? Hearing none, we'll close the floor, bring it back before the board. Gentlemen, I entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the rezone with the revised site plan that shows the cutoff lot having some road frontage.
Second motion. Motion by Commissioner Doster, second by Commissioner Chandler. Any discussion, gentlemen?
I'd like to say thank y'all for helping us through that. Lots access by easements in general just ended up being a bad idea. So thanks for revising this to make it much more palatable.
All right. Terry?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Motion carried, sir.
So can I go ahead and start?
Yes, sir. If you get with the permit office, you're good to go.
All right, thank y'all.
Number 3, this was in District 4. Michael T. and Jennifer Roach are requested to rezone their 8.65 acre property from A2 to AR. No public comments for or against. The planning and zoning voted 6-0 to approve.
Thank you, sir. Mr. and Mrs. Roach, you like the way it was presented, or would you like to add anything?
That's fine.
Thank you. Anyone here to speak in favor of this rezone request? Anyone here to speak in opposition to this rezone request? Hearing none, we'll close the floor, bring it back before the board. Gentlemen, I'd entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve.
Have a motion by Commissioner Kurt, I was over here with you. We'll give it to Mr. May. Commissioner May, second. Any discussion, gentlemen? Hearing none, Frank, it's on you.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries.
Number 4, this is in District 2. Given Fitzpatrick, husband of Kalina Fitzpatrick, requested to rezone a 3.19 acre of her 67.49 acres A1 property to AR to allow the track across the road to be split off with the existing home. There was no public comment for or against. The Planning and Zoning Board is 6-0 to approve.
Thank you, sir. Is anyone here to speak in favor of this rezone? Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Fitzpatrick, you here?
Yeah.
All right, do you like that, or would you like to add anything to it?
I think it's fine.
Think it's fine, thank you, sir. Anyone here to speak in favor of this rezone? Anyone here to speak in opposition to this rezone? Hearing none, we'll close the floor, bring it back before the board, and I entertain a motion, gentlemen.
Will this request be approved as presented?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Chandler, second by Commissioner Kirk. Any discussion, gentlemen? Hearing none?
I was just gonna say, it's pretty easy, that, the parcel is actually already separated by motor, it's already, I read already.
Brian, it's on you, sir.
Yes.
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 Yeah. Motion carries, sir. Number 5, I'd like to skip until the last. Let's try, because it's going to be a lot more lengthy, just to free up time for the audience. If we could move it to number 9 and just skip it for just a second.
Yes, sir. Number 6, Brian Sexton is requested to rezone his 21.95 acre from A1 to A2 to bring the lawfully non-conforming parcel is comprised with current zoning regulations. This is in District 4. There was no public comment for or against. The Planning and Zoning Board is 6-0 to approve.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Sexton, do you like that as it's presented, or would you like to add any more?
Just fine, if I could have.
Thank you, sir. Anyone here to speak in favor of this rezone? Anyone here to speak in opposition to this rezone? Hearing none, we'll close the floor, bring it back before the board. Gentlemen, I entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve the rezone.
Motion by Commissioner Kirk, do I have a second?
Second motion.
Second by Commissioner Chandler. Any discussion, gentlemen? Hearing none, Mr. Dahlstrom.
Yes.
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 Yeah.
Yes.
Motion carries. Mr. Sexton, thank you for being patient. You started this in, oh Lord, several months ago.
Yeah.
You've been on the waiting list, but I appreciate your patience, sir.
Thank y'all.
Okay, number 7, this is in District 1. Mark Pierce is requesting to rezone his 4.89 acre property from A2 to AR to bring the lawfully non-conforming parcel into compliance with the zoning regulation and allow 2.46 acres to be split and absorbed into adjoining property. There was no comments for or against by the public. The Planning and Zoning Board 6-0 to approve.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Pierce? All right. Anyone here to speak in favor of this rezone? Anyone here to speak in opposition to this rezone? Hearing none, we'll close the floor, bring it back before the board. Gentlemen, I entertain a motion.
Make a motion.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Adams, second by Commissioner Kirk. Any discussion, gentlemen?
Do we need to specify the applicant is going to join it to the addition, or is that? I'm just trying to make sure clarity.
Actually, I think under the acreage requirements, you wouldn't have to, so that's up to him. Is that right, Chris?
You wouldn't have to, and that was part of his request, and number 9 on your list is the property it's going to, so it's a two-phase, but it's in the request, whether y'all put it in the motion or the council's recommendation.
I'd always say as requested.
That's,
What was that?
Thank you,
I'm
sir.
just trying to get clarity.
All right. So I have a motion second. Oh, you guys.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Motion carried, Mr. Pierce.
Okay, number 8, Mark Pierce, applicant for Jennifer Dyer, is requesting to rezone her 2.85 acre property from A2 to AR, bring the lawfully non-conforming parcel into compliance with current zoning regulations. This property is also in District 1. There was no public comment for or against. The planning and zoning board is 6-0 to approve.
Thank you, sir. Is there one here to speak in favor of this rezone? Anyone here to speak in opposition of this rezone? Hearing none, we'll close the floor, bring it back before the board. Gentlemen, I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve this statement.
Motion to approve is stated. Have a second.
Second motion.
Second, Commissioner Chandler. Any other discussion, gentlemen? Hearing none. Terry?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
All right.
Okay. Number 9, Chester Mindlegolf is requesting to rezone a 3.99 acre portion of his 37.79 acre property from A1 to AR to split off for a family member to live on. This property is in District 1. There was no public comment for or against. The planning and zoning board is 6-0 to approve.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Mingledorf?
Sounds good, thank you.
All right, thank you, sir. Anyone here speak in favor of? Anyone here speak in opposition of? Hearing none, we'll close the floor, bring it back before the board. Gentlemen, I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion that we approve, submitted.
Second.
Have a motion by Commissioner Adams, second by Commissioner Kurt. Any discussion, gentlemen? Hearing none, it's on Frank.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
All right,
All right, going back to number 5.
Yes, sir.
Gene Nixon of Alewine and Nixon Properties is requesting to rezone his 18.22 acre property from B to I, which is industrial, to bring his lawfully non-conforming existing used auto parts sale and metal recycling business in compliance with current zoning regulations. This will require conditional use application for the metal recycling operation. The property is located at 8611 Highway 29 South in Hull on map 32, parcel 29 in District 3. There was no comments for. There was 7 in opposition at the public hearing. After much discussion and listening to the public hearing, the Planning and Zoning Board voted 4-2 to deny this redraw request.
Thank you, sir. I'm gonna do this one a little bit backwards. I'm gonna ask anyone here to speak in opposition of. All right, we're gonna come up one at a time, speak your name for the record so we can write it down. Just a way to keep track of who spoke. And then, Mr. Gene, we'll let you speak in case any of us questions. Wait, you do it backwards. All right, go ahead, young man. Just give me name and address for the record, sir.
My name is David Carey. I live at 76 Mandolin Court. That's in the Rice Landing subdivision, which is very near and across Highway 29 from this parcel to be considered. I'm here tonight to support the recommendation by the Zoning Commission for denial of this rezoning request. I feel there is no need to change the zoning as the parcel is already deemed legal non-conforming, and Mr. Nixon's operation can continue without any concerns about violating zoning laws. The only reason I can see for rezoning to industrial is there might be a company wanting to buy his property for truly industrial use. But it must be rezoned to industrial before committing to purchase. If Mr. Nixon gets that done here tonight, they buy his property, he gets a big check, and we are stuck with a facility everyone in the area may suffer with. And the permit office cannot stop a legal application if the company meets the building and zoning codes. This is not what we, the people who live and work in the area, want our community to become. There's no need to go over all the negative effects of putting more industrial into an already densely used business and residential area. You have surely heard it all. It all comes down to this. If you trust the judgment of your zoning commission and can see the true reason for this change request and its consequences, then I feel you should deny this rezoning. The decision which you, the board, make tonight will determine the future of the area in which my wife and I and hundreds of other people work, live, raise children, and try to enjoy life. So your decision will be very important to us. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next, sir.
Hi, my name is Jason Redbeck. I'm a resident in Hannah Heights Trail, so in fact my property is right adjacent to his property. There's multiple reasons that I would hope that this would be not denied for the application. One is it would negatively affect property values. There's been peer-reviewed research. I work at the University of Georgia, by the way, I'm an economist. There's been peer-reviewed research that's been done that's found by Boren Group the impact of industrial sites on residential property values. I'll just quote some of the abstract. The results reveal that the distance to an industrial site has a statistically significant negative effect on the value of residential properties. Furthermore, we obtained statistical evidence for substantial localized price differentials, which vary according to the size of the industrial site. So it's a pretty big property. The authors found that it affected the nearby homes by about 15% lower values, just attributable to the zone being industrialized. So that's just the zone. That's not like what kind of property is in that zone. Not only that, the hundreds of households around the area, so this would be within a mile that this would be affected. We'd have to deal with louder noise levels. So the page 5 of the Madison County Noise Ordinance draft basically allows for industrial to have 70 decibels instead of 65 decibels for a normal business. That doesn't sound like a lot, but that's a logarithmic scale. And so the perceived increase in volume compared to a business zone would be 50% louder. Compared to a residential zone at nighttime levels, 4 times as loud, which is 300% louder. So louder noise levels. There's a lake that's adjacent to the property as well that he's trying to rezone. It's a lake that's it's not a pond, it's larger than an acre in size. That connects to a stream, as well as there's natural streams coming into, or natural springs coming into the streams, and that's going through a ton of properties. So if it was turned into an industrial zone, who knows what kind of operation would exist there. It could be even more polluting than a salvage yard right now and leak into a lot of other properties. In addition to that, if you look at just the property values and how much they would diminish, and that each house around the surrounding area is between about like $200,000 to $400,000 for the Hannah Heights Trail, and I forget the name of the other division. That's another big division, but there's other houses around as well. And you're looking at about $30,000 to $60,000 worth of damages per household, and you just do some simple arithmetic. the economic damages just from turning this to an industrial zone is above $5 million. And there's a lot more people affected than the one person who would benefit from this action, which is Mr. Nixon. And the last thing I just want to say was there was a similar case that happened in Newton County, Georgia in 2017. And the county eventually settled after a landfill tanked property values, and the class action lawsuit was settled for $10 million. So this is just an absolute mess if this land was to be turned into an industrial zone. The whole purpose of zoning ordinances is to protect property values. And so I would hope that we'd protect our property values tonight. So thank you very much.
Anyone else?
Hi, I'm Joe Edelwine. I own a salvage yard up next to Gene's. Gene had it sold to his property to Encore Recycling. Encore is a big operation. They want to put a shredder in there, and if you put a shredder in there, you're going to have explosions, all kinds of stuff. Would it help my business? Yes, I could sell to them. I wouldn't have to haul it so far. But it's not nothing that the county wants or Bryce Landon or any of the communities around. So I would suggest not passing.
Thanks, sir. Anyone else? All right. No one else in opposition? Who would like? Yeah, come on up. Speak in favor of.
Appreciate it. I understand everybody's concerns, and this comes back to my property is not, it's not being sold right now. What happened, a company, and it was Encore, like Joe said, the same company that wanted to buy him out, but it fell through. So I guess that's going to do the same thing. It is, would be okay, but the issue was, I stopped mine. They was wanting to buy me out last summer. They asked for more time, but in that, they came out here, and the zoning department told them that they would need it zoned industrial. They was handling all that. When I'd give them 2 months to close, they asked for more time, I wouldn't do it. So the deal ended. So I came out here just to make sure, and Tracy down in the zoning said, yes, you should be zoned, your place should be zoned industrial. I don't know anything about this. I don't particularly need it industrial. But what I don't need, because one day I will sell it. And when they come out here, then it was a conflict this time. They got told it needed to be industrial. And then that deal stopped. When I came out, I was told the same thing. So then I applied for that. When I come before the board, I got questioned about, was I manufacturing anything? No. And the company that was going to buy me, I don't know if Joe knows more about them than I do. They never told me they was putting in a shredder. I've also been told, even if they did, that's not manufacturing anything. But that's neither here nor there. I just want to get my property conforming. It says I'm legally non-conforming. So anyway, I was going on the advice of the zoning office. That's how I ended up here. Some of the stuff the gentleman said back there, I understand the concerns, but just because I'm industrial, if I were industrial, that don't mean somebody else can slide in there and build some crazy factory or something without coming before y'all to get that approved. It would just be industrial, and I would be zoned correctly. I've done a little bit of research. Seems like every municipality, their salvage yards, they got guidelines, and it says that salvage yard should be industrial. I'm not an expert on that at all. So wouldn't never came up had they not approached me wanting to buy my business and getting told that it should be industrial. And me coming after I didn't sell to them and asking and getting told the same thing. So I'm not so much, and I know the gentleman back here said, they nervous about the family lives. I get that. I want to be a good neighbor. I've been there since 2008. Don't want to do anything to hurt anybody. I just want it to be industrial because that's what I was told it should be. And then and like I said, that don't mean like he suggested, like you might know that
you know, was selling somebody that was going in and do something crazy, that couldn't happen anyway, without them coming back here and getting that worked out. So, that's where I'm at with it. Just vote we do.
Gene, I appreciate it. I appreciate your insight on that. Most of us know this at this board. Well, we all know this at this board, but the public don't. And I think it's a good time to hear it. Industry, based off what we've been dealing with over the past few years, is a very sensitive topic. No different than something going to business from residential. You do have the opportunity to cause havoc, because when you kick that industry door open, the same as you kick a business door open from what used to be residential, everybody likes the guy that's going to open the new business until he sells it to that next new business, and now they don't like that, now they want us to fix it. So, and we saw that with the crematory up on the hill. It was several years back, it was owned, they were happy with that owner, but not happy with the next owner. And what we don't want to do in industry is get in a situation of, you're correct, once it's zoned industry, the gentleman was correct, that he wouldn't have to necessarily come back before this board to get approved if he met all the criteria of being an industrial zone. It would be more the permitting that we couldn't stop. What we've committed to as a board, committed to making sure that we pick the right industries to come into the county, the ones that's friendly to the subdivisions, but yet still productive to the community from an economic standpoint. You have a fine facility now. I agree 100%. I've walked those yards myself many times, as I have Mr. Joe's, Mr. Edelman's. That when I was reading the application, though, the one thing that got me, and somebody brought this up, was it said it, not the non-conforming existing auto parts sales, which we know that goes on. It says the metal recycling business. I didn't know you'd done metal recycling, and I was told you was one set of scales put in. And honestly, you can put those in tomorrow already.
Yeah, I checked on it in 2019.
Yeah, you don't have to abide by that because your business district already allows for that. Your property and Mr. Alewine's property both are grandfathered in prior to '94 for their uses. So where you are legally non-conforming, you are still conforming to the grandfather status until it sells. If it sells, then that guy has to come into conformity. So I don't know how this board's going to vote. They get a vote, I don't. But I can tell you the leery that this board has based off of the last industrial zone. Only because we don't know, it's an unknown. If they do vote to go on your site and make it industry, they also open the door to, we can't regulate which industry comes in. It could be an omni source. It could be. I'm not saying that that's bad.
No, it could be stuff, you know, we've heard a lot of.
It could be anything. Yeah, and I heard a lot of speculations. There's some of that stuff, you're right in reading it, but a lot of it is a lot of could be's and would be's.
And I'm not here for the could be's, would be's.
I agree.
What the zoning office advised me to do.
Yeah.
And if it were to come up again, and you just said, if somebody buys it, they have to change or something?
They would have to conform to those zoning rules of the industry,
No.
which.
Oh, no, I mean, but if it wasn't, somebody buys it, my business like it is, and want to do the same business, what would they have to do? That's where it got confusing.
If the use didn't change, it wouldn't matter.
Exactly.
The use don't change, but after 12 months, and let's just say you shut it down 12 months later, then you gotta come into conformity. Yes, sir.
But somebody wanted to buy it, but I'm not sure I ever needed to been here.
That's what I'm thinking.
And but that's not what the zoning office told me. And I called the girl today that you talked to, their attorney or CPA.
Oh, the lady that came in?
To make sure that they wouldn't ask nothing. She said, no, I just asked, what do we need to do? She said, I was told we need to make it industrial.
I'm gonna go out on a limb, Mr. Nixon, and say that we owe your money back.
Well,
if your request was strictly to put in the scales and thought you had to come into conformity for that reason,
no,
you did not.
I did. My request wasn't for the scales. I came back in 2019. I got that wrote down.
Okay.
Patent and some left in there we wrote
You don't have to do anything, just like you just told.
Mr. Chairman, may I say something, please?
Not right now.
But then when they approached me last year, she came by and she said, I'm going to a zoning meeting. She comes back, she said, the county says it needs to be industrial. Would you sign that as owner of the property so we can handle it? I said, yeah. She said, they said it wasn't a big deal. I said, yep, I signed it. Then they asked me for more time. They had something else going on. And I didn't back out on them, I wouldn't. But anyway, I didn't give them more time till the deal was stopped. One day, somebody else will come along, and one day I want to sell. I haven't tried to sell that since I've been there. So I think that's where I'm at. If I got the correct information, but either I want to, have it industrial, zone industrial, so that it won't come up again, or be assured that if somebody does come to the zoning board, to the zoning office, they'll get told correctly what it needs to.
Yeah. I don't know where the wheel fell off with that. I'll tell you, if the purchaser was coming before us with a set of drawings that says, this is what we want to put on this piece of property, this is what it's going to generate, and we've seen all that, that would have been a lot easier potential rezone with the better questions, other than just a landowner wanting to swap, knowing that it's an open door to whatever.
And I'm not an expert on this, and I learned a little bit. I should have came to that first meeting, but I didn't care. They wanted to check zoning, they wanted to, and then they was told they should. So a few months later, I got told I need to go check on that. So they said that term legally non-conforming. And to conform, you need to be industrial. They suggested that they said I should be industrial. I went with that suggestion. That's how I ended up here.
You were right when you stated earlier that if you come in tomorrow to build a salvage yard, you do have to be zoned industrial. Yeah. That would have never fell into the business category.
So I'm good with leaving it just like it is. Leaving it open for commissioners to do what they like. I still stick by my first request since I was told, but I'm not pushing for it to be industrial. I'm not pushing to put something crazy there that's been suggested. I pay a lot of money every year to make sure my water that goes off my property is good. I get it tested. Anybody can look on the site and see that. I keep up with it. So that's all I got to say.
You have a very, very good thing.
Thank you. Can I pose an option too? I guess we'll look at this way. From where we sit on this side, and from planning and zoning also, and it's largely because of the way the ordinance is. If it becomes industrial zone, there's a huge list of things then that automatically qualify. I didn't know that. I was told different. And I didn't know. I heard that if I get it zoned industrial for a salvage yard, it's in the zone for a salvage yard. If somebody wanted to buy that and do something different, they'd have to come here. I don't know that. There are a few things inside industrial that may require conditional use permits also, but in general, if it's on that list, then essentially it gets to all they have to do is just come and apply for building permits. So that's kind of the heartburn because it opens the door wide open. We are in the process of there's a lot of ordinance revision going on. And one of the things that Mr. Roach and I talked about is within the industrial zone, instead of just being with one big I, maybe industrial A, B, C, or D, and we could sort of be smaller lists. So industrial I with a little a would allow these three things. Maybe if that we could come in and be a very specific A, then once the ordinance is written, assuming that's done. If it would suit you, I'd like just to put this on hold until we get to that point with ordinances and just see if we can make a better fit and sort of fix all the problems in the process. But that's something that's being worked on. Yes, it's in process now. Yeah, I'm good. I'm not trying to sell, but if it comes up, I will. Yep. I mean, as a businessman, I'm not the company that tried to buy me last year after. But anyway, I'm not trying, so that suits me. Okay, if that works for you, then I will put that in motion. We just have a table or postpone whichever one is the best way. until we get to the point of the ordinances that we can more clearly define.
Well, I think it's gonna need a new application if the ordinances change. I mean, when the application is considered under the ordinances as they exist at the time it's filed, so.
And at that point, we can do that without additional fee, since we've already, we
Well,
as committee.
well,
I mean, yeah.
We can refund his fee now and then him reapply at that time.
Well, I would suggest you address that if and when there's a reapplication. What I'm hearing is that the purchaser came up here to find out about zoning, and who knows what their intent was, but they were not satisfied for whatever reason buying it with a lawfully non-conforming status. They wanted to rezone, which suggests to me that they wanted to expand the operation in some way that would no longer qualify as lawful non-conforming. So I think the application was probably properly, I mean, they got the right advice. You wanted to do something that couldn't happen without an industrial zone. And the applicant's correct, Dix is correct. If that happens again, that would be the same situation. You cannot expand or alter that use.
But, and I understand they wasn't trying to do that.
I don't know. No one would know what was in, but they were obviously not satisfied with had buying it as a lawful non-conforming.
No, I think they would have bought it anyway. I stopped it, but they got the advice here to make it industrial.
Right.
That very easily can happen.
Yeah,
Because we have probably 1,000 parcels that's in compliance, but non-compliance, I guess you could say. In other words, they're old zoning that now, if you own 19 acres, but 24 acres of an A1, now is not A1.
Yeah.
It takes 25, but you're legal non-conforming.
Yeah.
So a lot of that could have been correct information is what they were telling you. And if you want to go through with that same process tonight, that's absolutely fine.
Well,
You could ask for the industrial rezone.
I'm about as confused as I've been, but
I know, right? It is very confusing. It's very confusing.
because I came back myself as a landowner, asking the same question, and was told by the same office, your property should be, industrial, and you should, and said it should, and this is what I was told, said it's not a big deal, we want to get everything conformed anyway. I said, okay. It seemed like it'd be beneficial to me, it seemed like what they wanted. I think that's what happened, I don't think I know what happened to the company that wanted to buy me, they came out here to make sure they could, the zoning was fine, they was told you need to be, now Mr. Rhodes said, they asked him about this, going to do grading, and I said, yeah, they did a yard up in Jefferson, they graded out, put a lot of gravel, made it better for the neighbors. But anyway, that's in the past, but they were told they should be industrial. I was told the same thing. That's the only reason I'm here. If I was told, and down the road, wanting to make sure I can sell the property to somebody doing the same thing down the road is why I'm here.
To do the same thing, nothing has to happen.
Yeah. And of course, this company is bigger. If they're going to do more, they're going to do the same thing. More of it.
If they do the same thing, use doesn't change, right, nothing has to happen.
So,
Well, tonight, we've had 3 other items that were approved because of legal non-conforming, that we've changed to conforming. And that is your remarks tonight. The kicker to it is in the industry.
yeah.
Industry is the one.
It's a
that
stigma.
you go, that's right. It's not like somebody's gonna go from a rural residential home to a piece of cow pasture, or cow pasture to a home. Big difference in an easy decision. That's why those other ones went so quick. You're the exact same scenario, except for you have industry, which makes us have to pump the brakes to say, okay, is this the right industry? Well, we don't know, because we don't know what it is.
Mr. Chairman, if I may add, the big difference, I think, is we're talking about a non-conforming use, not a non-conforming lot.
Okay.
We focus a lot on lot sizes here, but that's not the main focus of zoning. Zoning is about putting appropriate uses together in the appropriate places. And so it's since God did not create zoning at the same time he created the planet, you always have when you map out where you want your uses, there will be some lawful non-conforming uses. And the way you deal with those is to say that because of vested rights, you can't make them change. But once that use ceases, then it goes back to the correct zoning classification, or goes back to the uses permitted by what zoning classification is in.
Yes, sir. All right.
Thank y'all for your help.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, gentlemen. Anyone else here to speak in favor of? We'll close the floor, bring it back before the board. Gentlemen, I'll entertain a motion.
We will have this as withdrawal, or go ahead and proceed, or what's?
I think that's up to the applicant if he wants to withdraw it without, actually, I think it may be too late.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah, it's too late to withdraw, so
It's too late.
actually, he's entitled
Too
to
late to
action
withdraw
from
it.
this board. Yeah.
I just want to say one thing. I would, I mean, if it's too late, but I'm just, for the sake of everybody here, knowing, I would be in, it'd suit me to withdraw it, but if you can't roll on, it would suit me that you voted industrial, or it'd suit me if I got a good clarity on the next time, you know, so, but I don't need it industrial.
Okay.
I don't think.
We can definitely
Y'all know
provide
more
you
about
with
that
the
than I do.
correct classification, not the industrial, I'm talking about what you are now and how long it can be that category and what boundaries it can be in business. We can definitely provide you with that.
Or what Mr. Chandler said about postponing and whatever's best.
I can tell you that it would be at least a year probably.
Don't
when
matter
we
to
get
me.
caught up, just because of everything else. We could entertain a motion to,
To line to draw pending
yeah.
resolution versus.
Mike, give me the verbiage.
Can I say one?
Absolutely, sir.
Sounds like to me that you need to make a decision on what he's asking for. What Mr. Chandler is talking about may happen and it may not. It may happen in 6 months, it may happen in a year, it may happen in 2 years, or it may never happen at all. So I think you need to make a decision on what's before you tonight, and then move forward after that.
And I
My
would
comment.
concur. Yeah, I think it has to, I mean, it's gone this far, it needs some action. The only consequence is if it's denied, then it's only a 6-month waiting period, or it would change to a year already. 1 year before it could be refiled, which doesn't sound like Mr. Nixon's trying to do anything in the next year anyway. And as far as refunding application fee, that's an administrative matter the chairman can look into. If he feels like there's a good chance Mr. Nixon had some confusing advice, then that would be his decision.
All right. Let's proceed with it.
Is there a motion on the table?
I would make a motion to shoot tonight.
I'll second that motion.
I have a motion by Commissioner May, second by Commissioner Doster. Any other discussion, gentlemen? I think it's on you, Brian.
Yes.
Yes.
No. No. But this is a motion to deny. Yeah.
Motion carries to deny. Now, we will get together with Christopher tomorrow, and we will get you those guidelines, and we'll have a sit-down session. Thanks, Jimmy. There is no old business, new business. Consider a camper permit extension for Danny Sherman. Christopher, you want to present this one? No, it's a good job. Thank you tonight, sir. Thank you, board. Thank you for your job.
If anybody wants to note from that meeting, I actually have.
That's fine.
Sorry, I'm looking here. Danny Sherman, right? Is that the one?
Yes.
All right. We extended, or this board moved to extend this permit. That permit expired 12/18/22. In the past year, sorry, there was a footing inspection completed in the past year.
That's not good.
So from the time of extension last time to present, there's been one extension, or one inspection done. That inspection was
Sorry, I don't have my glasses on there. May 4th of 2022. Are they right? So the last inspection was on May 4th of 2022. The building inspector sent Mr. Sherman the information he needed to request, all the details involved, by letter that was done on Monday, 12/19/22, at the very end of his permit being valid. Then the extension letter was received. Permit was extended for 90 days per the building inspector to make sure he had a place to live. Everything was up to point for him to be able to get on for this meeting. So we've done the year plus 90. All right. Thank you, sir.
The last inspection was May 4th.
Yes.
So,
He's almost in the dry. I didn't have time to print off the pictures that I do. Pass along. That's what I was able to get off. Y'all got it? Mr. Sherman?
Evening. Danny Sherman.
What's going on, buddy?
Well, I'm doing it all myself, and just took time to get everything going, and then COVID and everything. Now we're probably about 2-3 weeks away from being dried in. Got everything there. If you look at the pictures, all my materials on vacation. Problem is just, unfortunately, weekend warrior, trying to get it done myself, so that's the little not too much to. I believe that he did give me an extension on the building permit, so hopefully I won't have a problem with the camera.
When does it expire? Yeah. Today? Yeah, to the,
He was just out.
yeah, okay. So extended 90 days, 12/29/22. But getting through the month of February, trying to get on, because I don't think he knows you're gonna be in here for February or March, where they were already working.
it gives you, according to this, gives you through March.
Yes.
And I'll be all dried in by then. I've already got, gas, electric, and everything. Actually, it's local, Mr. Lamar.
Yeah. So I'm not really concerned about the dried in part as much as I am the completion part. You know, we have to set these rules for everybody to go by, and I get it. Want to do it yourself, want to save money, I get it, especially in today's times. At some point, time is your enemy, and in this for instance, time is your enemy. With the extension already being granted, with the extensions of permits already being granted, I get your mindset. I was a builder, I get it. But at the end of March, you're gonna have to re-permit these things.
Okay.
You're completely out.
Okay.
There cannot be another extension.
When you say re-permit?
All your construction permits.
Okay.
Because they're gonna run out. You've already run them out, and then they give you an extension, and now you got to buy them.
I didn't understand that, but okay, yeah.
And I hate that. I wanted you to be done in the first.
I want to be done too.
Yeah, I wanted you to be done in the first go around. I'm gonna ask this reasonably. When are you gonna be completed with this home?
Completed?
Completed, moved in, CO. All I need is CO. No, CO. It don't have to have everything for a CO.
So CO is me having my electric and my power, my.
CO means when are you getting out of the camper and into the house?
Realistically, probably June.
6 months.
Probably. If I was to be honest with you, yes, sir. As much as I'd like to be in yesterday and stop getting beat up from the boss lady, yeah, I'd like to be in sooner than that, but.
I understand. And weather's not helped you any.
Weather has not helped me, COVID hasn't helped me.
But again, I have to apply these rules to 30,000 people.
I understand. I'm not trying to get into stuff, so I just want to do what I need to do.
So the camper is hooked up to the septic system and
So
everything's.
I have a septic and everything out there, and Mr. Eddie came out and he approved it. Unfortunately, because of my distance where my house is from my septic and then where my camper is, we got those full on, just like if you're out on the campground and you have to take and empty. what I do. Do what you gotta do.
Christopher, this is your office.
Yes,
I'll ask for a little bit of advice on this before we make a vote.
Yes, sir. I actually asked Eddie, our chief building inspector, what his recommendation, would be. I want to make sure I read it correctly. Building inspection, is recommending that he has to re-permit everything. That would give him 1 year for the permit. 1 year permit to finish the home, and then the camper permit attached to the residential, he could stay there for up to another year to finish everything out. I'm not sure what the permitting fees would be at the top of my head, but if we allowed another year to allow him to build the home, just make him re-permit top to bottom for the entire building.
I understand.
Except what's already been approved, like.
Yeah. The footing would carry over the T-pole, the electrical.
Anything pending.
Yes, sir. Yes. Cool. But that's been ours, or was Eddie's, where I sit at.
Eddie's option, not a recommendation.
Yeah, Eddie's option, not a recommendation. For me, just because we have to treat everybody equal, and it's not trying to point things. It's almost in the dry. I understand that. I think 6 months would be reasonable after the first extension. And hopefully good weather. But pray for you good weather by all means. But instead of it being a year, I feel more comfortable with a 6 month extension if y'all did. With a
temporary housing.
Yes.
All right. I agree. 6 months on the camper permit, 1 year on the house max. Or y'all do what you want.
Well, I'm just saying, I just want to make sure that, that we monitor that, we're making progress. And
absolutely.
And I don't know how exactly, if we can set it up, but I'd like to see that we got inspections that are regularly, because if you get behind, at some point you'll have to do something. You got to go rent somewhere and live, because, if we keep on going this route, I mean, I sympathize with you, but if we go this route, then we've got other folks that aren't nearly as progressive as you've been, because you're doing it by yourself, that will try to get a camper permit and do it for year after year after year. We've had it in the past.
Just so you know, the first 8 months was my hard work. Once we got the footing started, we've been moving forward consistently. And then seeing the pictures I have, what I need, it was the first 6 to 8 months between
keep in mind
finances and everything.
From a board of commissioner standpoint, though, it looks like you're building in the middle of a very rural area.
Yes, sir.
But if we do this still will apply to somebody that's building a subdivision.
I understand.
So when the neighbors start riding by every day and they say, wait a minute, why does the county keep giving us extensions when this is in my front door? They're wanting to see it done, as to why we're in a tough situation.
Absolutely. Or help with a solution with regular progress. Maybe if we added it to our follow-ups, our court follow-ups, not in the same mix, but to where we come by and we just check on your situation once a month, if that sounded good.
Absolutely.
It's quarterly, every 3 months. Because the permits is good for a year, he's asking for what you're.
If y'all wanted to do.
What you're offering is a 6 month camper, 1 year for building, with a quarterly report. And if they go by in a quarter and they say, man, I ain't seen that move since last month, it's void.
Fair enough. Absolutely.
Quarter or.
I mean, if you need me to, I can send you some pictures if that helps. I mean, I'm just trying to get it done, and I understand where your position is. And
we want to be friendly. I really, and you just saw a minute ago with that gentleman.
Absolutely.
That's a situation. This right here is another one, though, because if we do for one, we have to do for all.
Sir.
All right.
Where's this located?
Off Doug Drake Road, right next to the church.
Yeah.
Toward Royston.
Towards.
Not that it matters, but you can't see me from there, that's why I took that property.
I understand that, right.
No, but I
But being
understand.
the District 4 Commissioner, I want to make sure that we don't have other folks that out in there in the country, because District 4 is the most country part of this county.
Well, I love it.
It's got this. I know, I do too, that's the reason but that's why I want to make sure that, you know, we got to meet the same standards.
Absolutely, and like I said, if you need pictures, I'll send you pictures.
I'll be fine with if they're going out and coming out and just making sure we have progress.
It's my understanding we're talking about a 6-month extension for living in the camper, 1 year for the home. If he doesn't hit the 6-month mark, we're not gonna come back in here for another 6 months.
No.
For the camper.
No.
Is that, I just wanna make sure I know what we're voting on.
Make it in your motion, but gentlemen, make it in your motion. The reason you're making the motion is because progress is shown. If not, we'll get somebody standing before us doing the same thing that ain't broken nothing, ain't even broke ground. And they're gonna say, but you done it for him, so it has to be based off, motion based off of progress.
Absolutely.
Or extending it.
You'll see progress.
Sounds like a good Derek motion, because he knows all the legalities in it.
So the 6 months starts from when?
The first of April.
Yeah, we only got it through March 30th.
So he'll actually, that would be 8 months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was what, September?
Well, he's got, yeah. But he said that, I'm going by what you said you should be in there in June. So we're giving you a little extra play time.
Why
So
don't you
that-
choose June and don't use months at all, just use June 1st as a date? I mean, I'm just saying, make it easier for keeping up with it. June, July?
Let's just go with the 6th.
Let's just go with the 6th. Yeah, I agree with that. I mean,
I'll go with a 6-month contingent on you do pull the building permit extension that you require. You don't pull that.
Do I pull that now, or do I pull that after the?
That's when,
At the end of March.
that's based on.
Fair enough, I'm fine with that.
Therefore, you don't pull it and continue work, you're.
Fair.
Anything that's pending at that point would have to be re-permitted.
I'm totally good with that and appreciate it.
I would strongly suggest too that you meet with Eddie and y'all have somebody with him so he understands when this takes place.
Yes.
What it takes to get a certificate of occupancy.
Yes, sir.
Because it ain't getting a roof on it and get some windows in.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
I mean, it's a house that can be moved into.
Yes, sir.
And my idea of a certificate of occupancy and living in sheds, two different things.
Yeah, and there is a concern, we'll go ahead and get the motion off. There is a concern when you leave OSB raw like that for a period of time.
Yes, sir.
It does have a.
It's actually covered, yeah, that was just, yes. It's
Yeah, looks like that was back in December, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's progress since then.
Okay.
All right, I have a motion by Commissioner Doster. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Kerr. Any discussion, gentlemen? Hearing none? Yes.
Y'all voting for the monthly or quarterly
Month.
inspection?
We
I didn't know, I know we talked about once every 3
It
months.
was a 6-month inspection.
We'll leave inspection intervals to
you all.
to staff. How about
Yes,
that?
right, yeah.
You need me to contact Eddie and get with him on that then?
Any other discussion, gentlemen? Hearing none?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Motion carries, sir. Get to driving some nails.
Thank you, I appreciate everybody. We'll be in touch. Thank you very much.
Urgent matters, sir, none that I know of. Executive session, discuss real estate acquisition, personal matters, and potential litigation, sir.
Yes, sir.
Here goes.
So moving, adjourn.
All right.
What's she doing here?
Good job, guys. Good job.
See what's going on? How you doing?
Good, how are you doing?
Fine.
So have you ever volunteered for Friends of Scouting?
Monday night.
Have you ever volunteered? Have you ever volunteered for Friends of Scouting? You show up, you pick up 5 cards, and you call people.
if they're gonna pay for their
Well, that's,
donation.
the opening.
You might put your name down and get